You want to know what pure, undiluted nerve looks like? Try waking up to a view so beautiful it feels like you stole it from God, and then watching people try to steal it right back from you, with lawsuits, threats, and a level of entitlement that'd make a Kardashian blush. That's the story I'm telling today. How my search for peace by the lake turned into a war, and how a simple no trespassing sign almost brought down an entire HOA. When I first saw that lake, just a shimmer of silver at dawn, it felt almost mythical. Mist rolling over still water, soft Oklahoma hills on all sides, the air so quiet you could hear your own heart beating. I bought the whole parcel, 100 acres, 24 of them water, before the realtors even finished their coffee. I'm no city slicker. I'm a former federal attorney, spent years untangling property rights and land grabs, so I knew exactly what I was buying. A legal fortress, clear title, no easements, no riparian claims, absolute ownership of the lakebed, shore, and everything in between. I moved in, set up shop in a modest ranch house on the southern shore, wraparound porch, slow Wi-Fi, the kind of place you can hear the crickets breathe at night. For a year, my world was quiet, just me, some ducks, and the hum of the spring. But paradise never lasts, does it? Especially when it's next door to progress. That's when Cedar View Landing crept in from the north, a planned luxury community with rows of modern houses, and an HOA so tight you'd need written permission to mow your lawn in stripes. Their homes butted right up to my fence, close enough that their kids could throw rocks at my ducks if they wanted. First, it was just polite waving. Then, a family asked if their kids could fish on my shore for an afternoon. I laid out the ground rules: no motors, no trash, no noise, no fires. They were respectful, and for a while, so was everyone else. But word spread. Suddenly I was the cool lake guy, and the trickle turned to a tide. Families with kayaks, groups holding cookouts, teenagers rolling in on muddy tires. I'd find beer cans, candy wrappers, scorched grass, tire tracks. One night, a Bluetooth speaker was thumping so loud across the water I could feel my porch shaking. I walked over. One kid said, "Don't worry, we're friends with the Parkers." I never gave the Parkers the right to hand out keys to my kingdom. I tried the neighborly route, chatted with the Parkers, polite, apologetic, but defensive. "We pay HOA dues, you know. You should be glad we give your lake good exposure." That stuck with me. Your lake, as if ownership was a group project, as if they were just waiting for me to hand it over in the name of community spirit. I ignored it for a while, put up new signs, installed a camera. Still, the parties grew, the trash piled up. Then I found my dock gouged with deep parallel scrapes. Fiberglass hull, no apology, just an unopened beer left as a calling card. That was the day I realized kindness wasn't enough. You gotta draw a line. So I wrote up an official notice, rescinding all prior permissions, included photos, legal citations, and sent it certified to the HOA board. I was still playing fair, you know. 3 days later, Randall Crane, the self-declared steward of Cedar View and king of condescension, emails me. "While we appreciate your generosity, lake access is an expectation for our residents. Your fencing, signage, and cameras undermine the spirit of our neighborhood. We may pursue legal avenues to restore traditional access." Traditional access? Like my property was some kind of ancient public park. Next morning, I started building a 6-foot steel mesh fence. Posted new no trespassing signs. Set up cameras with plate recognition and facial logs. Within a week, someone had tagged my sign selfish, knocked down a few posts, and dumped trash along the trail. My cameras caught shadows and faces, never clear enough for police, but enough for me to see these weren't accidents. I called Randall, asked to meet like adults. He refused, said all communication must go through HOA legal. Then a community newsletter lands at my gate, talking about reclaiming our lake, and how my fence divides hearts. Manipulation dressed as neighborly concern. I fired off a notarized letter, copied to the county recorder. No access, trespassers will be prosecuted, and every interaction will be documented. I meant it. Then nothing, just silence. Summer ended with no laughter on the north bank, no late-night parties. For the first time, the lake was truly mine again. But I didn't relax, not yet. Because when the loud ones go quiet, you know something's coming. Sure enough, early October, a manila envelope lands at my door. Lawsuit. Cedar View Landing HOA v. me. They claim my fencing and cameras violate community expectations and the emotional rights of residents to interact with their natural environment. They cite outdated statutes, planning memos from the 70s, even marketing brochures as legal precedent. My favorite bit: historic use, which in their mind means 3 years of beer-soaked parties count as common law. I didn't get mad. I poured myself a rye, watched the moon, and then went to work. Compiled every document: deeds, surveys, drone photos, emails, trespass letters, and footage. Contacted contractors who'd cleaned up the trash and injuries from broken glass. Pulled Cedar View's development submissions, no mention of lake access, ever. Meanwhile, Randall was riling up residents with letters and Facebook posts about elitist land barons. I put together a legal explainer, emailed it to every address I could find. Here's the law, here's the line, here's who owns what. The silence that followed was priceless. Preliminary hearing, December. I show up early, folder in hand, ready. Randall shows up late, overdressed, flanked by 2 lawyers and an assistant with binders. The judge, Marcia Harper, blunt, sharp, and tired of HOA drama, starts things off. Is this the case about the lake? Randall's lawyer launches into a speech about communal resources, and Judge Harper cuts him off. Did you build your subdivision on this man's land? No, ma'am, but... And he owns the lake? Yes, ma'am, but... You're arguing a private owner is obligated to let strangers use his lake because it's pretty? Chuckles in the gallery. 3 years of historic use, Randall offers meekly. Harper sighs. Unless you can show me a statute that makes aesthetic yearning a property right, we're going to be done here fast. She flips through my paperwork, snorts at the HOA's Divided Hearts article, and grants my motion to dismiss, hard. I won, but Randall wasn't done. Next came the harassment. Unmarked SUVs parking at my fence, drones buzzing the dock, cameras smashed with rocks, contractors blocked by fake inspectors. I kept quiet, documented everything, sent a warning to the HOA. Interfere again, and I'll take you to court as the plaintiff. When that didn't stop, I filed suit for harassment, interference, and damages. Meanwhile, a quiet rebellion was brewing inside Cedar View. Anonymous letters from residents landed in my mailbox. Sorry for the loud minority, most of us never wanted this. Newsletters started sounding less like manifestos, more like damage control. But Randall, he wasn't done. One morning, I found a pile of dead fish dumped by my sign. I put up banners: private property, no exceptions. Trespassers fined $10,000 and sued. That night, my cameras caught silhouettes standing at the fence, just staring, angry ghosts. Nobody crossed the line. By the second court date, the gallery was packed, neighbors, reporters, ranchers from across the county. I was the plaintiff now. I showed drone footage, surveillance, online posts, and best of all, an affidavit from a resigned board member. Randall encouraged harassment, spent HOA money on security patrols, paid a local investigator to surveil me. I played a recording from a HOA Zoom call. Randall himself. He may own the lake on paper, but we own the pressure. Judge Harper, deadpan. Charming. She granted an injunction. HOA barred from contacting or surveilling me, referred the matter to the state for civil harassment review. Next morning, I find an unsigned HOA resignation letter. This is what happens when a community is led by a man who thinks property law is just a suggestion. 3 more households withdraw. Moving trucks roll in. Cedar View's shiny facade starts to crack. Leadership is out, membership plummets, legal costs mount. My lawyer files for damages. We go big: privacy, defamation, property repair, punitive costs. The HOA's insurance buckles, settles fast. $210,000, wire transfer, silence included. Randall resigns, leaves town. His reputation's shot, his leadership a punchline. I take $10,000, upgrade the fence, buy a strip of land to block any future views. Post a custom steel sign. Private property. No shared stewardship. Newspapers run stories. The lake that fought back. I get emails from landowners, a t-shirt with a cartoon HOA drowning in red tape. Cedar View never recovers. House values drop, the board dissolves, winter comes early and quiet. And the lake? Still silent, mine again. Fish spawning, birds returning, water clear, paradise but hard-earned. I help a few neighbors with their own HOA nightmares, pass along my legal guide. Someone asks if I'll ever sell. I look out at that lake, now truly my own, and say, not for all the HOA dues in the world. So here's my question for you. What would you have done? Where's your line between peace and war? Ever had to fight for what's rightfully yours? Drop your thoughts below, share your story, because sometimes drawing the line is the only way to keep what you love yours.